Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. I'm Zena. Keita was jamming to the music with Monte, Poole, legendary Warriors insider.
Wow.
You know you're a legend. Stop it. Come on.
Come on. I appreciate it, but that's a lot.
You are. You've been covering these Warriors for quite a few years.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
And one of the things that I know you've probably been missing are these road wins.
They've been missing them. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And
they missed it 30 times last year.
Well, this time they're starting off a little bit better.
Yes.
Taking down the Houston Rockets 106-95. Warriors were saved by their captain, their saving grace, as always, Steph Curry showing up in the fourth quarter, 14 points, 4 of 7.
Yeah.
Daggers in that last quarter. What'd you make of his performance?
When times get tough, look to 30.
Look to 30, and he will show up.
Yeah, and again, he didn't shoot really well early in the game, of course. It's like, okay, maybe it's one of those nights for Steph. But then when he hit that first one over on the left wing, I'm like, uh-oh. The second one, it's like, okay, it's over now.
Yeah.
And he hit a couple more, and basically, I think Dillon Brooks kind of, got him going, just because Dillon Brooks is out there on the court. Dillon Brooks has a way of getting guys going, and Steph is like, okay, I'm not going to jabber too much with you, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to knock you down for a little bit. Boom, boom, cook you a little bit and put you down for the night.
And then he had to hit him with the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone. I mean, this was amazing. He said in his postgame, he's like, I don't even know where that came from. We were just having fun with it, but I loved it. I hope he gets more of that throughout this season. The night's been cute. It's being used a little bit. I mean, we used it in the preseason all the way now. I think the Macaulay Culkin definitely should be showing up a little bit more.
Why not? I mean, he tends to do these things spontaneously, and again, I talked to Steve Kerr a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how Steph exemplifies the way he wants to see the game played. That he's a competitor, he plays hard, he works hard, but he has fun. Yeah. He has fun. He said fun has to be a part of the game if you're going to enjoy it, and Steph enjoys it.
For sure. The magic number almost for Steph tonight was 6. I wish he would have had he had 6 of 16 field goals, 6 of those being threes, 6 from 6 from the free throw line. Also had 6 assists. Where he messed me up was, but in a good way, he had 7 rebounds. 1 turnover, 1 block shot as well. One of the things that there's questions about being able to go inside, though, right? When Steph's shooting that well from the 3, does he need to go and try and find those 2-footers, and go inside through the bucket?
I think he will on occasion, but if his 3 is going, and so far this season, his 3 has been nice. So I think it's okay. I mean, he's not a guy who gets to the line a lot, and he's not a guy who gets a lot of calls either. We've seen Steph over the years get hammered coming in, and you don't see him getting the call. So I think Steph may be at a point in his career where he's saying, you know what, is it worth it? To go into the paint, get clobbered, and not get calls. So there will be games when he tests it, depends on who's in the paint. But I think for the most part, Steph is like, if my 3 is going, I'm going to stick with that. And then I'll go in the paint if I need to. But again, he's never gotten a lot of calls. Most superstars get the superstar call, the superstar whistle. He never really gets it. So I think maybe at 35, he's like, maybe it ain't going to happen.
Right. I think that is a common thing. He has not definitely gotten that superstar whistle, that superstar effect. Now, speaking of sticking to what you know, Steve Kerr talked about the lineup today being a championship lineup. Draymond Green making his return after dealing with that ankle injury. Bit of cobwebs. A little bit of cobwebs to shake off. But he did end up doing a lot of what he's known to do. In 21 minutes, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Yes, he had 4 turnovers. So, yes, clearly the cobwebs, him just getting used to one being on the court, getting that basketball conditioning back going. 4 points, ended up in the +2 bucket. In the first part of the game, definitely you would say that things were a little bit shaky. A little shaky. But in the second part of the game, you definitely saw what he's used for the best. +15 in the second half, is our counterpart Dalton Johnson noticed. This is what he is being set up to come back to do. Be that quarterback for the team, be that man in the backcourt that can just kind of make everyone know what's going on and direct traffic.
I mean, Steve Kerr has said many times, ever since the Warriors acquired Chris Paul in July, the question, is Chris Paul going to start? Who's going to start? Who's going to start? And Steve Kerr would never really commit to anything. But you always knew, you had to know that Draymond Green was going to be in the starting lineup. And that if Draymond's coming back, that somebody had to go out. And who was it going to be? The obvious person to go out is Chris Paul. So to see Draymond back, that puts him back in the lineup, which we remind you once again,
Yeah.
that was the number one starting five in the NBA last year, according to the metrics. Offensive rating, defensive rating combined, the best net rating of any starting five, even Denver's. And,
Wow.
and the Nuggets won the championship.
Right.
So Denver was number 2. So you don't mess with that. You know, even Chris Paul pointed that out in his postgame tonight. It's like they had the best starting five in the league last year. So when Draymond is back, you put it back together again. Now, it's going to take a few games before it looks right. But tonight, it looked right at times. But I think having Draymond back out there, it gives the Warriors they're whole in terms of their personnel. They're not whole yet in terms of the chemistry yet, but that'll take some time. It won't take a whole lot of time. Give them a few weeks.
Well, Steve Kerr said that he will be having that same starting lineup back tomorrow night against the New Orleans Pelicans. But Draymond's actually at the podium. Let's see what he had to think or say about his performance tonight.
Felt off for the first half. Felt like the game was moving way too fast for me. Didn't really have my legs under me the first half. I was tired as hell. In the second half, I felt a lot better. Felt like the game started to slow down. I started to feel better. Started to make a couple reads, settle into the game. I had some awful turnovers in the first half. So I think the second half, I felt a lot better.
Does that allow you to kind of feel better about the night, as you go into
Yeah, I mean, I never tried to make too much of one or two plays, but after I haven't played a basketball game in 6 months, so it was good to make a couple plays, especially every time I was in the game. In the first half, we killed the lead, so it felt good to redeem myself a little bit there in the fourth quarter.
Steph spoke a lot about sacrificing for the betterment of the team after Friday's game, and Chris obviously did something tonight that he hasn't done before in his career. What does it mean for Chris to be willing to accept that, and what does it mean for the team?
That means a lot. Chris Paul's a Hall of Fame player. Will be in the first ballot Hall of Famer. And one of the greatest point guards to ever play this game. For him to be willing to take a bench role on this team, it sets a tone. It sends a message. When you got a first ballot Hall of Famer that'll go to the bench with no complaints and then lead that unit and come out, he's plus 22 today or something like that. That says a lot. And so I think we all, those are the types of things that you feed off of and you try to build off of. And if a first ballot Hall of Famer can come off the bench, there's probably only two other people that can argue that, and that's Steph and Clay, that you can even put in that category, So everybody else got to fall in line as well, and I think that's important, especially, with us coming off the year that we had last year. You understand the things that it takes to win. One very important one is the camaraderie and the togetherness of the group. And it's things like that that builds that.
Beyond just like the tone it sets, you mentioned it, like being really good on the bench. Plus 22, he gives you guys a huge lead within all bench unit. How big is just having him?
It's huge. For him to take our bench unit and go plus 22, and they were the much better unit this game, make no mistake about it, and in large part due to me killing our first unit. But they were the much better unit this game, and Chris is right at the forefront of all of that, and I think that'll be an advantage that we'll have. When you're talking replacing Steph Curry with Chris Paul, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that when you talk about taking your starting point guard out and then the next point guard is Chris Paul. That's incredible, and I think we'll have that advantage all year. So that's something that'll be huge for our team.
I will forever appreciate Draymond's candidness and candor. One, I was tired as hell.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Coming back, he hasn't played a game in 6 months. That makes complete sense. That the game was moving a little bit fast for him in the first half and then, caught up a little bit with him in the second. But he makes a really, really great point. You take out Steph Curry as your starting point guard and your backup is Chris Paul,
Yeah.
it really solidifies, one, the importance of a bench, but you have an all-star coming off the bench for you.
Yeah, that's like some international play thing. You know,
Yeah.
Olympic stuff where you
Right.
take out, okay, I'm going to take out LeBron and I'm going to put in KD. It's like, I'm going
you
to take
don't
out Steph,
get
put in Chris
that.
Paul.
Right.
You're right. That's as good as it gets.
Right.
And you just don't see a guy who is at Chris Paul's level, even at 38 years old, coming off the bench to sub out, for Steph. And so, again, tonight it worked out great.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why Chris's value is with that second unit.
Well,
The first unit, he can play with him, and he will. He finished the game with him. But the second unit needs him.
Correct.
They need him.
He provides the stability that you can obviously see in the court. Let's talk about his stats. Plus 22, as Draymond just said, in 27 minutes, 3 of 8 from the field. He's still 0 from the three-pointer on the season.
Yeah.
But you know that jumper is deadly. 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, only 1 turnover. Again,
Yeah.
that assist-to-turnover ratio,
It's
impeccable.
crazy right now.
It's really crazy. And that's who you've got coming in to help stabilize
Yes.
the second unit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think his assist to turnover ratio is like 7-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sustainable, but it's hard to imagine it getting much worse because he's new to these guys and it's 7-1 right now.
Right.
So if you're a Warriors fan or a Warriors player, one of his teammates, you got to be thinking, man, this is nice. This is nice.
Imagine once we get comfortable.
Yeah, this is nice. It should only get better. And again, it's going to take a little while, but you see already kind of what tonight. Look at Dario was 1 of 6. He's not sure. Chris Paul's still looking for his shot. Moses was 1 of 6 tonight. So even with those guys not firing their shots tonight, the second quarter they still went on a 24-8 run that kind of gave the Warriors enough cushion to where even when they lost it, they didn't lose it for very long. So the second unit tonight was the heroes. Like Draymond said, they were a much better unit tonight than the first unit.
As he said, in large part to me, killing my first unit. Again, appreciate his honesty and his candor there.
That's right.
But Chris Paul is at the podium. Let's see what he had to say about coming off the bench for the first time in 19 years.
Oh, coming off the bench. It was different. I mean, Clay told me 1,366 straight games. Oh, something like that. It's definitely different, but at the end of the day, it's basketball, And so for me, the warm-up is different, A lot of it was, but once you get out there playing in the game, now is hooping. And it's cool to be on a team like this where, you're just free-flowing. Everybody playing and sharing the ball.
You mentioned the warm-up being different, but did you just move it back or keep timing it?
I don't know. I'm figuring out, something that new, but it's whatever I got to do to help our team win, And so if that means not finishing some games or whatnot, if you get a chance to play long enough in this career, there's things that's going to change. There's things that's going to be different. And, I'm here.
It's all basketball, right? But it's coming off the bench, offer a different perspective on the game, strategizing a little bit different in terms of what you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. Y'all don't realize this is new. You know what I mean? So you asked me about the first game in 19 years and we won. You know what I mean? So I think the units, all the stuff, you get a chance to see the game or whatnot, but it could have been a shit show tonight. You know what I mean? It could have been the best thing, but the only way you figure it out is you keep, seeing what it looked like. Did I like it? Who likes new things? You know what I'm saying? It ain't about a matter of liking it or whatnot. It's new. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's crazy that, you know what I'm saying? I don't hate it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't a matter of liking it. I like the fact that we won. That was the most important thing.
I like the fact that they won, too. That's the perfect way to summarize that. I'm curious for you, Monte. A lot of the question that CP3, coming off the bench, that was a big factor.
Yeah.
But there was also a factor from a defensive element. And when you look at what that unit did, of course they played really well, but the thing that got me excited was that they were plus 13 in the time that they played together. In the 6 minutes they played together, scored 21 points, kept Houston longer, faster, playing out of the gym to 8 points.
Yeah.
What did you make of Chris's impact on the defense as well?
Well, Chris is good on defense. I mean, he's not as good as he used to be, lost a step, but he's still strong, he's still sturdy. But when you put Gary Payton out there, I mean, Gary makes things happen on defense.
Sure, yep.
I mean, he's been doing it ever since he came to the Warriors, is that when he hits the floor, generally speaking, within the first minute, he's going to do something on defense that makes a difference. He'll get a steal. He'll cause a turnover on the other team. Something will happen. And tonight, he got 3 steals. He had 3 steals the other night. So Gary just does stuff. And the things that he does tends to put the team in transition. And when you do that, those are those live ball turnovers that other teams hate to commit. If you're a Warrior, you want that because it gets your offense going. And they got Kuminga some easy layups, you know. And that, to me, is the key, is when Gary's out there with Chris and Kuminga, who also is a pretty good defender. You know, Moses is solid. Dario is okay. So, but the second unit right now, defensively, if Gary Payton is going to play like this, they should be okay.
And Gary Payton did finish 6 of 8 from the floor, 15 points in 19 minutes.
That helped too, those points, huh?
That definitely helps. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 3 steals as well. Gary Payton had himself a night.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go talk about some more Warriors offense, defense, as well as a particular player I know some of you are interested about, our friend Wiggins. Don't go anywhere. All right, friends.
What up?
Hey, YouTube. I'm loving all these comments. I think it was really, really beautiful. There's
What's the best one?
Well, one of the messages I thought was really cool was exceptionally high praise for Chris Paul from Draymond Green.
Yeah.
And that is really beautiful because if there's 2 players that they thought would be oil and water, right? It's those 2, but you've just been seeing that was completely manufactured outside of this team.
Yeah.
These 2 have such a great appreciation and respect for each other's game.
Yes.
And it's manifesting out beautifully.
Yeah, these 2 veterans realize that their relationship can rise or sink this team.
Yeah.
And if it's not good, it would sink the team.
Yeah.
But they're smart. And Draymond's really smart. Chris is really smart. Draymond's 33. Chris is 38. They know that most of their career is behind them. So whatever they have left, they want to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And right now, you know, what they've done together as teammates and of what they've done together as a group beyond the 2 of them sort of indicates to me that they're going to try to do everything they can to make this thing work. And I don't think it'll be that hard. There may come a moment if they have a rough patch in the season. That's when you get tested. Okay, you say, okay, you're doing too much, you're doing too little. But right now, early in the season, it's not quite the honeymoon phase, but it is a point where you're saying, okay, we got time. Let's keep working at it. We'll get it together. And
that's a really great point. It's still early. It's still early. And we know that it's when you've got those back-to-back road trips and your body's tired and and certain things aren't working. That's when the real struggles or the challenges come about.
Yeah, and you want to be able to stay cool in those moments.
For sure. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. Zena, Keita here with Monte, Poole, talking about the win the Warriors just had over the Houston Rockets, 106-95.
2-0 on the road.
2-0 on the road. Ooh, that feels good. Did the weather it just feels good in here. 2-0 on the road, feels good to say that. There are some questions around some of the things that are happening with the Warriors. You looked at that closing lineup. There's a person missing from the starting lineup. That would be our friend Andrew Wiggins. Now, let's talk a little bit about his statistics so far this year. In game 1, minus 22, 10 points. Game 2, plus 2, 11 points. Game 3, minus 4, 13 points. You said before this game tonight that you believe that Andrew Wiggins would try to make a statement. Knowing that in game 1, when it was time to close the game, Kuminga replaced him. He's made 1 3-pointer on the season so far. He's also had 6 rebounds on the season so far, including 0.
How many rebounds did he have tonight?
0 tonight.
Oh. How many minutes did he play? 28. Oh, dude.
So averaging 27 to 28 minutes a game, you think about his usage. You think about what he has to provide this team. What do you make of it?
Andrew Wiggins, understand in this game, spent most of his time on the perimeter. He had the Fred VanVleet assignment early on. So he's out on the perimeter, guarding the point guard. But if you're Andrew Wiggins and you're playing 28 minutes, you can't be the only guy on the team not to get a rebound, because everybody else got a rebound.
Right.
And you look down the row of players that played for this game for the Warriors, everybody got at least 2. And Andrew got 0. So he's got to find a way to make an impact some kind of way. And I think he will. A couple of years ago, he was an all-star. And I thought he deserved it because he was really good. And he's not back to that level right now, and I don't know whether he's trying to search for where he fits in with things now, whether, they bring in Chris Paul, maybe they need something different from me, I don't know. But Andrew Wiggins is a talented player, and we've seen him. We saw what he did in the finals a couple of years ago.
Right.
So we know Andrew can ball. But early on this season so far, it's not really showing up. I don't mean so much in his shots. His defense has been okay. I don't mean in shots, but you can't be out there on a team like this and go 28 minutes and not grab even 1 rebound.
Agreed. And I think, though, the one thing that we can count on with Andrew Wiggins is his ability to go inside.
Oh, yeah, he'll attack.
He'll attack the basket.
He tried that tonight.
He did that tonight.
Yep.
He went to the line, shot 5 free throws, made 4. You can count on him to attack and be the closest to what the Warriors have as a finisher inside.
Yeah, that's what I thought would happen early on. I thought he would attack because, like you said before the game, he wants to be able – he knows the first 2 games were not great. I think he wants to make a statement early, and that's where the attack comes in. Okay, I'm going to try and do something. It didn't work out. One of them was a turnover. He had a chance. He went for a dunk but didn't quite get there. And so these are all things that over the course of the season I think will iron themselves out. But right now – he's kind of struggling on the offensive end, and again, the rebounding thing is, to me, that's kind of inexcusable.
Yeah, of course, especially when you're spending that much time on the court.
Yeah.
But let's also talk about the offense, because there were times tonight that the Warriors' offense was moving the ball really well, but then there were also times at night where offense just looked a little bit stagnant.
Yeah.
The ball stayed on one side of the court, and there was no movement to the other side. It was a lot of wing drives. It was a lot of isolation ball, not Warriors basketball.
Yeah. I mean, and we're showing this video now, and JK is in some of these videos, and JK is still learning how to play team basketball. I mean, he likes to go ISO, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And tonight he went ISO one time, and it a really bad turnover. And he lost the ball. But I think that's what has to happen. I mean, Chris Paul understands how the ball has to move. Dario Saric understands. Dario had 5 assists, so he understands it, and so does Chris. Moses understands it, but I think once JK gets the rhythm of the game and realizes how important ball movement is, I think he'll be fine. But right now, you're right. There are times, and that's what the second unit kind of has to come accustomed to. Right now, they're probably looking at, what, Chris Paul's our guy.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of wander around and let him figure out what we're gonna do. It'll take time for that unit to come together, really. But tonight, in second quarter, though, they found a way. But most of that was done on the defensive end. They got it going.
Right. When you think about the fact that you have to adjust to 2 different types of offenses, Steph Curry's moving all around versus Chris Paul doing the traditional point guard move, it can be confusing, especially as a younger player.
For both teams.
Right.
For the opponent, too, which is a good thing for
the
Warriors.
Which is a good thing.
I tell people all the time, when the Warriors brought in Chris Paul, everybody's like, well, how's he going to play with the Warriors? They want to play fast. Can he keep their pace? Yada, yada, yada. All right, wait a minute, people. Shaw Livingston didn't play real fast. He was deliberate. And Shaw Livingston played for the Warriors for 5 years. And they went to the finals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So let this play out.
Right. Well, we'll see what they do next game tomorrow against the New Orleans Pelicans. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to that game and see what the Warriors have in store for them. Back on YouTube. I want to also talk about the Warriors defense. I think not necessarily this game. This game was pretty much all man. But we've seen the zone come out a little bit.
On occasion, yep.
When do you think they're going to be utilizing that more so? I'm thinking, for me, I've seen them pull out the zone, particularly to help their veterans catch a breath.
Yeah,
right.
That's a factor. And also, it's who's on the floor for the other team.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you're not going to go. You don't want to go to a zone if you got 4 shooters out there.
Right.
They'll bust that sucker up.
Sure.
You know, but if you have a team out there that you think the zone will work against, you give it a shot and see how it goes for a few possessions.
So I thought that the zone could potentially work if you plug the gaps well, because they were driving. They weren't shooting the ball extremely well. I mean, they literally, I don't know how many, I think 6 minutes went with no shots in the second quarter.
Yeah.
So they were putting the ball on the deck. So I figured a zone could work, plugging it up and then pushing the ball, or know, getting them to kick. But
I think for the Warriors in that second unit, I think the way they played defense during their stretch in the second quarter let them know, okay, we don't have to do much of anything right now. Our defense is playing pretty well now. The Rockets aren't getting much going, so let's just let the defense ride it out. As long as we're, when they go 24-8 with Steph on the bench, that I don't change anything. If Steph's sitting there watching it. Steph walked out, took a seat on the bench. The Warriors were down 3. He came back, they were up 13. So
he was a spectator. He was eating his popcorn.
Yeah, like okay, boys, I see you.
Right.
I see you. So yeah, in that instance, I think tonight the way they played it, I thought was fine. But as we go forward, there will be games when you see them, alternate, and they'll go to some zone, but mostly to try and make sure that team.
All right, guys, welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. Let's quickly look at the team that the Warriors have to go up against tomorrow, the New Orleans Pelicans. Really evenly matched. But the biggest thing that stands out to me, 26 assists versus 21.
Yeah.
So the Warriors definitely have to get that ball movement going. What are you particularly looking forward to in this matchup?
I want to see how they defend Zion Williamson.
Sure, that size.
Yeah, and Zion is such a unique player. I mean, he's big, he's bouncy. There's really nobody else in the league that's like him, that's 6'7", 275 pounds, or whatever he is, who goes above the rim like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know who gets that assignment, but whoever gets that assignment is probably going to be a little sore the next day. I'm
thinking if it's Draymond,
yeah, I mean,
shake those cobwebs off fast.
Yeah,
Draymond, because that's huge. That's a really big assignment.
Yeah,
for sure.
the Warriors. I mean, the only guy who can jump with him is probably Kuminga.
And I was thinking that too. But
JK
he needs some size.
JK is like 50 pounds lighter.
Right.
So it's going to be a challenge. But again, with Williamson, you just want to try and keep him from getting easy buckets. Make him work for it, and that's what. If you make him work for it, you've won. And
definitely don't let him get free in the open court.
Yeah.
That's very big.
But don't forget, you got Brandon Ingram pretty good and CJ McCollum, so they got other guys too.
They've got quite their hands full for tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, so second game, then they're coming back to Chase Center, but they've got to make sure to get that third win on the road. 2-0, Warriors beat the Houston Rockets 106-95. Thanks for tuning in to us. Dubs Talk Live, Zena, Keita, Monte, Poole. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Alrighty, folks. Let me just quickly run through some of our comments.
Come on, tell me somebody said something
Livingston
spicy.
was consistent, underrated for sure.
Yep.
Giving you that comment here. I'm trying to see if there's anything spicy though. I don't know if I see anything.
Shout out
spicy.
somebody. Shout out somebody.
I just want to shout out, Otis,
Okay.
Shannon, Catherine Gibson. You guys are always showing up. We appreciate you. Catherine, we missed this too. I know. Watching basketball without our chat on Dubs Talk Live, it's just like, it's a little family, right? Being able to talk through it. But I mean, this is a good one. Chris Paul has shown out and taken over Iggy's role on the team.
I would say there's a lot to that. Chris is doing a lot of what they wanted Andre to do last season.
Right, being a player coach almost.
Yeah. But Andre, his body didn't hold up. So he only played a handful of games, and he couldn't do it. So Chris will play a bunch of games. He's already played 3 games, which is almost as many as Andre played last year.
Right.
So, but you're right. I think Andre has moved right into that seat. A guy who is a veteran sage. I used to call Andre, the sage of the team. And Steve Kerr used to call him the adult in the room.
The adult in the room.
Yeah, he's been there.
I used to call him the baby Dubs. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes
and so
sense.
now with Chris moving into that role, and he does some of the same things that Andre did. He connects guys. He makes the game easier for the guys he plays with.
Yep.
And he sets guys up. more than he does set himself up.
Yep.
So these are all things that the Warriors needed. So, but that's a good observation to see.
Shout out to Eric Gomez for
Yeah.
that observation.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great point.
He is doing what they wanted Andre to do last year.
That's a really great point. I'm trying to see anything else. I mean, for me, outside for this game, I really thought we talked about this a little bit just outside in the main room, but I really think that there's something to be said about the effort too that the Warriors are putting forth, because I think the gap that was closed was not necessarily because the Rockets were shooting the ball out the gym or anything like that. There was just effort,
They were
length, hands, activity.
The Rockets didn't quit.
Yeah.
You know, and the Warriors got them down double digits, and they could have, a young team, but also Ime Udoka, the coach there, he ain't gonna let him quit.
That's right. I almost forgot he was the coach
he
there
ain't
until I
gonna
saw
let
his
him
face. I
quit.
was like, oh, right.
He's one of those dudes that if you quit, he got something for you.
Right.
So they know, and they will start winning some games this year because of that. You know, and they'll be better on defense because of him. So we'll see where it goes. But the Warriors were, fortunate to get them tonight, get them early, and show them a little something, because to go ahead by 13, 15, 16, and then see them come back, and then once again say, okay, Steph, take us home. Boom,
the resilience
take
on
that.
the road, being able to
Yes.
close on the road, this is very important. I know Klay Thompson's tired of us talking about last year, but it's still early, okay? That's the imprint that we have in our mind.
That's right.
Okay?
That's recent.
It's still recent for us, but yeah. So anyways, we appreciate you guys joining us on Dubs Talk Live. We'll be back tomorrow night after the Pelicans, after Warriors post game. So thank you guys for tuning in as always, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.